My name is Paul Barron, and this is TechPath. Thanks again for tuning in. If you guys are watching over on YouTube right now, hit the subscribe bell. I know maybe it's your first time, you want to listen through one of these. Point is, check out the inventory and the library of videos. We really go into some deep dives on the EV space, autonomy, and we cover a lot of digital assets, all the cryptocurrencies out there. So it's a great channel. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. So hit the subscribe bell before we get started here. Let's jump into Tesla's situation currently. As you guys all know, Tesla and Elon Musk have moved into the Bitcoin marketplace with a fairly large investment, and they've done it in what I thought was a perfect timing in Q1 to be able to help pad their profitability and really kind of position Tesla to perform well in Q1. When you look at what's happened here recently since then, since Q1, Tesla and MicroStrategy slowly losing Bitcoin shine. Now, this is an article that just really kind of released. I want to zoom in on this, and you can kind of see here what's happening. High-profile coin purchases by corporates like MicroStrategy and Tesla credited a part in pushing up the price of Bitcoin throughout the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, allotting billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin in their balance sheets, had to a knock-on effect on the stock prices on Tesla and MicroStrategy, both of which were subject to a 340% and 808% pumps, respectively, from their moment that their CEOs began stacking sats, Satoshis, and posing crypto memes. This was an interesting play, and I wonder if now Tesla is looking at this as a backfire. Has this backfired on Tesla with the current situation? You can look at this two different ways. Whether you look at it as we are at the end of the bull market in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, if we were and are at the end of the bull market, the likelihood is we will never see an all-time high near the 60 or 50K mark again for a few, maybe months and or potentially a year. If you're on that side of things, you're really concerned about why Tesla put so much into Bitcoin, and it potentially could have a big concern on how Tesla's performance is. I want to cut to a piece here by Rob Maurer. And if you guys have not heard Rob Maurer before, he hosts a podcast called Tesla Daily. And it's an excellent podcast that really breaks down news and information on what Tesla's impacts are, what kind of scenarios we're dealing with in terms of news and how it relates to Tesla's stock price. Listen to this cut right here from Rob Maurer's, one of his most recent podcasts on the effect of Bitcoin jumping into the Q2 financials for Tesla.
If at any point in time during the quarter, Bitcoin's price falls below the current carrying value that Tesla recognizes on their balance sheet, Tesla has to mark that down as an impairment loss, and that actually hits their GAAP earnings per share because it's recognized as an expense in the restructuring and other line. In simple terms, no matter the price of Bitcoin at the end of the quarter, Tesla has to recognize the value of their Bitcoin as the lowest price that it traded at throughout the entire quarter, unless that quarterly low is still higher than the price that Tesla has it recognized at on their balance sheet. If that happens, they would just record no change. You can see this in Tesla's Q1 results, where they say the carrying value of the Bitcoin that they hold is 1.33 billion, but the fair market value is 2.48. They only recognize the 1.33 billion on their balance sheet.
All right, so you can kind of see where Tesla is right now. They're in a bit of a predicament where they may have to take a loss on Bitcoin because of its low trading value in this quarter. Now, we have until the end of June here to correct. Now, if Bitcoin corrects in the month of June and we see it, this is no big deal. It's no big deal. The only scenario that plays out here that could be devastating for Q2 for Tesla is if Bitcoin does not correct, because it does have to deal with the lowest price unless they sell it, which is another factor all in itself. So there's a catch-22 here. If they do not sell, or if they hold, if they continue to hold through the end of quarter two, then they're going to have to basically take a hit on their balance sheet at basically what is the lowest Bitcoin price at that time. And when you look at the quarter and where we are, it's probably the 32K point. When you look at where Bitcoin is at the quarter. This is just a quick trading view. I was looking at jumping in here. You can kind of see where they were, and that's, yeah. So you're looking at around the 32 point, which is where they would have to kind of hover in going in that direction. I wanted to jump over to their stock price. So we did an analysis quickly on TradingView right here for Tesla's stock price and compared this over to their Q1 earnings. So what I wanted to do in the data here was take a quick look at the April 9th Q1 earnings call and where the Bitcoin sentiment was during this period of time. This is right at earnings call period where we saw a nice little bump, and actually the earnings call was right here. We saw a nice little fall and then a nice little rise, which is very interesting because at this point right here, Bitcoin sentiment, in other words, Tesla position holders that basically were, including myself, full disclosure, I'm a Tesla stock owner. And at that point in which I heard that, I was very pro Bitcoin. Why wouldn't you be? It just increased. They dropped, a ridiculously load of cash in terms of profitability to their Q1 earnings when they sold Bitcoin. It put them in a really good positive position. But then we started to see the fall of Bitcoin, and I want to I probably should have a chart comparison here, but I want to show you the fall of Tesla's stock price right here, which was hovering in that 780 points to where we are right here at Bitcoin sentiment currently as of May 21st. This is where we currently are, May 21st. Sentiment on Bitcoin for Tesla positions dropped from 87.94 to a 39.44. So this tolerance level of the investor inside Bitcoin or inside Tesla is very, very low now. In essence, what's happening is that a lot of these position holders have finally looked at this as a potential crutch that could affect Tesla's Q2, maybe their Q3, depending on the positioning and also the market. Because remember, we are nearing the end of a bull market, or at least most of the analysts that are watching cryptocurrency in a very close way are looking at a potential, cataclysmic situation here that would really affect Tesla's stock price if they have to continue to take large losses. Remember, it was 1.5 billion, I believe, in terms of their treasury that was moving into cryptocurrency. So unless we see a major move in cryptocurrency after June, maybe towards the end of June, and after June, then that's where I think that's going to be the real critical play right now. So there's going to be a lot of scenarios to watch here. I'm just kind of curious whether or not Elon starts to maybe reposition with some of cryptocurrencies in terms of, he continues to tweet out fairly random thoughts around where cryptocurrency is moving and his support of where cryptocurrency is going. But this is a very striking change when you look at the difference between the sentiment relayers just between the April 9th period, almost a little less than 1 month or 2 months ago, from their Q1 results to where we are now at 39.44 versus the 87.94, which is a very high sentiment score, by the way. Very rare that you see a sentiment score in the 85 plus range. Only around Tesla could that really kind of come together because of the amount of fanatics that we have in the space in terms of investment long term. What does this do to Tesla's long-term stock price? Of course, they have had a nice little up on their stock. Let's see where it's trading right now. Did it clip over? Yep, looks like it's moving in right at 611 right now. So I think there's a nice little up, but it's weird. I almost think that we are starting to see the Bitcoin trends align with Tesla trends in terms of Tesla owners need Bitcoin to perform to be able to make Tesla perform in terms of their Q1 and their Q2, Q3 reports in terms of their earnings, to be able to get out of and exit Bitcoin in a healthy position before this bear market ends. All of this starts coming around, and I think these now are very tied together. And anytime you, as a publicly traded company, are tied to something so volatile, this is not good news if you are in a position where you have been in Tesla for years. Maybe you're at your market, maybe you're at your investing end in terms of retirement, and you're having to take out gains now from what was one of the highest, all-time high this year with Tesla stock. And now we're dealing with a $600 stock price that's too highly related to where Bitcoin's volatile movement is and how that potentially could recover. So this is going to be a very interesting thing to watch as we see Bitcoin and the positioning that Tesla has taken in terms of putting, basically their assets into Bitcoin and put so much on the line. And I say so much, it's still a very small percentage of their total treasury. So that's not the case. I think the case here is more about the news and the sentiment roll-up that people are going to have that are going to get people to invest in Tesla at these lower points. If they feel like this is a volatile stock, much like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, would we see a little bit of intrepidness moving into the marketplace, both pro and against, for Tesla stock in terms of an entry point and affecting the rise for Tesla being able to get back and recover? Or do we see a potential tie to cryptocurrency, and as cryptocurrency meets its bull run end, having a major impact on the rest of 2021? That's nothing compared to all the scenarios of missed dates and promises that we've had out of Elon. So when you add those on to cryptocurrency and the volatility of it, has Tesla maybe gone too far on really tying themselves to Bitcoin? I think that's going to be the question that everybody's going to be asking over the next few months. Make sure and stay tuned right here. We're going to continue to dive into this. We'll, of course, bring back more and more sentiment analysis. Now, I want to do a chart comparison of both Bitcoin and Tesla along with sentiment analysis and see if there is some cross divergence in the individuals, meaning the market that is investing both in Bitcoin and Tesla stock, because I think there's a lot of crossover of where market positions are in both of those particular assets. And if there is, the relationship of understanding those could become much more real flowing into the summer. So stay tuned right here. Make sure and subscribe over on the podcast. If you're here on YouTube, make sure and share the video, and also make sure and hit the notifications so you get more content like this. You can hit me up on Twitter. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.